Hello, my name is Ashley. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Thank you for watching this video. I am so grateful for anybody that watches this. I'm going to start making videos about true crime. If you've looked at my channel, you've seen that I have like 3 videos from about 2 years ago. And they were like about makeup, and I love doing makeup, but I don't think making videos about me doing my makeup is really what I want to do on YouTube. So I'm going to be posting true crime videos and things that I'm way more interested in talking about with people. So there might be some random topics on here, but for the most part, I think I'm going to be doing true crime. So today, what I'm going to talk about is 3 celebrities that have been killed by fans. This may be a part 1 if anyone wants to see a part 2. I did a lot of research, and I think it's very sad that this has happened to these celebrities that I'm going to talk about. And there are more celebrities that have been killed by fans. So if you want to hear about more, then I will definitely make a part 2. So the first celebrity that I am going to talk about is Christina Grimmie. She started out as a YouTuber singing in 2009. And what happened to her was absolutely heartbreaking and tragic. She ended up going on to The Voice in 2014 for season 6, and she did amazing. On YouTube, she did amazing. She gained a lot of traction, and she had a lot of views. There was a lot of people that really, really loved her, and she was going up in her career before she was tragically killed. And she placed 3rd on The Voice, and she was starting to do concerts, and she was really gaining a big fan base. And she opened a concert for a band called Before You Exit in Orlando, Florida. And she went to do a meet and greet with the fans who wanted to meet her after the concert. And she was there with her brother, who did music with her sometimes as well. And she was meeting her fans and everything, just at the meet and greet. And this one man named Kevin Loibl went there to meet her. And when she met her fans, she had her arms open, ready to hug them. She loved her fans. And when she met him, she had her arms open, and he shot her once in the head and twice in the chest. So since her brother was there with her at the meet and greet, he saw this occur, her get shot in the head and the chest, and he started trying to wrestle the gun out of Loibl's hands. And Loibl ended up pointing the gun at himself and killing himself. This concert was on June 10th, 2016. The ambulance rushed Grimmie to the hospital, and unfortunately she died a couple hours later in the hospital on June 11th, 2016. So they had found on Loibl's person that he had 2 9mm handguns, and he had 2 extra magazines fully loaded. Loibl had driven 120 miles to see Christina Grimmie in Florida. He lived in St. Petersburg, Florida, and he drove all the way to Orlando to attend this concert. When his parents found out that this had happened, they were completely blindsided. They knew that he liked her. They knew he was a big fan, but they said that he never really said anything violent that he wanted to do to her. They never really thought that he was truly obsessed with her as he was. According to TMZ, there was some violence in his past, but charges were never filed. There had been some type of domestic dispute between his dad and his dad's fiance, but like I said, they never filed charges. And he did legally purchase these 2mm handguns. Okay, so as I'm editing this, I'm seeing that I said 2mm handguns. I totally meant to say 2 9mm handguns. Just clearing that up. Grimmie's brother told Insider she just genuinely loved the people around her and gave everyone the time of day, no matter what. Her coach on The Voice, Adam Levine, paid for her funeral, and her parents started the Christina Grimmie Foundation, which will be linked down below if you'd like to donate. And the Christina Grimmie Foundation is to support families of gun violence. Since the foundation has started, they've donated over $200,000 to families. And in my research, I was seeing that there wasn't a lot about Christina Grimmie in the headlines. And a lot of people speculate that the reason for this is because 2 days after Christina Grimmie's death, that was when the Pulse nightclub shooting had happened. And that was just a few miles down the road from the place in Orlando where she had her concert. She is buried at Berlin Cemetery in Berlin, New Jersey. Next, I'm going to talk about Gianni Versace. He was born December 2nd, 1946 in Italy. Versace built a mansion in Miami, Florida. People loved going to see this mansion. It was just beautiful, and the people in Miami, it wasn't a very popular spot, so the people in Miami, they really enjoyed that it was becoming more of a tourist spot because Gianni Versace was there, and everyone wanted to go meet him, and everyone wanted to see his mansion. And the locals said that every single day, Gianni Versace went down the street to the local shop and got his morning newspaper and got his morning cup of coffee. And he was very nice to everybody. Everybody loved him. And all of a sudden, 27-year-old Andrew Cunanan had come up behind Versace and shot him. And he had shot him at point-blank range. After being shot, Versace was laying on the steps, and the neighbor had heard a gunshot, and he came up running to see if everything was okay, and he saw Versace laying on the ground, and he called 911. Versace was victim number 5 of Cunanan. He had went on a killing spree 3 months before killing Versace at the opposite end of the country. Days after the murder, Cunanan was nowhere to be found, and he soon became one of America's most wanted men. He was on the top 10 FBI most wanted list. Cunanan's motive for the murder still remains unknown. Gianni Versace is buried in Maltrazio? I don't know. I don't know how to pronounce that. I apologize to any Italians or anybody at all. Maltrazio Cemetery in Maltrazio, Italy. The next story I'm going to talk about was one that was very, very interesting to me and very sad, but I don't know, this one interested me a lot. It's about an actress from the 80s named Rebecca Schaefer. She was born November 6th, 1967 in Portland, Oregon. She began her career as a teen modeling in her junior year of high school. She appeared in department store catalogs or commercials. In 1984, she landed the role of Annie Barnes on ABC's One Life to Live. She was on the show for about 6 months and then it ended. In 1986, she landed a pretty big role of Patty on the show My Sister Sam. And this ended up being her breakout role. So next, we need to talk about a man named Robert Bardo, who is very important in this story. He claims he was very neglected as a child and would write notes to his teachers crying out for help. Bardo had told his teachers at one point that he wanted to commit suicide, and they sent him to counseling for a little bit, but he stopped going to counseling after a while, and it didn't really do much for him. He was placed in a foster home from the neglect of his parents, In 1985, he was placed in a psychiatric home. And he was diagnosed with bipolar disorder, and 1 month later, his mother would take him out and bring him home. He repeatedly exhibited erratic behavior all the time. 1 year before Schaefer's murder, Bardo was arrested 3 different times on domestic violence charges. Bardo saw Rebecca in a commercial, and the minute he saw her, he thought she was beautiful. He fell just completely in love with her, and he said, I'm gonna be with this girl. And he felt that they were soulmates. Reportedly, he had, like I said, felt a very strong connection with this girl, and he started sending her gifts and letters. E reports that the letters were endearing to her, and she was just starting out and gaining a fan base, and it made her really happy to be getting fan gifts and fan letters. So she had wrote back to him at one point, and she said basically, thank you so much. I'm glad to have your support, and that was about it. And he took this letter as a sign that she loves me and we need to be together. So when she wrote back, he felt that was a sign from God that they are destined to be together. And he took that and he ran with it. So at this point, he set out, his mission in this world was to meet Rebecca Schaefer. At one point, he visited Burbank Studios where she worked, and he was turned away by security and couldn't go in. And also, when he had went to Burbank Studios to visit her, he had brought a bouquet of flowers and a teddy bear that he was going to give to her. 1 month later, he had went back to Burbank Studios, and this time he was armed with a knife. Security turned him away, and he didn't threaten them with the knife. He was just armed with it, and so he went back home. But this made him angry. In the past, Bardo had stalked a young activist named Samantha Smith. He attempted to go meet her in Maine, but he was arrested on the way to Maine, and he was sent back home. When Bardo saw Schaefer in the movie Scenes from the Class Struggles in Beverly Hills, he became filled with rage because he saw her in a sex scene. And he was thinking, like, you're my girlfriend. Why are you on this movie having sex with some other dude? And so he wanted to punish her for this. He felt like it was cheating, and that to him felt wrong. And so he said he felt betrayed, and he genuinely didn't understand that she was just playing a character on a movie. Bardo said, and I quote, "If she was a whore, God was going to appoint me to punish her." Bardo decided to find Schaefer's home address. And so he had contacted her agent to try and get her address, and Schaefer's agent had turned him down. So he went to a private investigator and gave him $300, and Bardo had gotten Schaefer's home address. I guess back in the day, you were able to just call the DMV and just get anybody's address and phone number, whatever you needed. Because of this case right here, they've changed that. So I think you have to be either an insurance company or something else. You have to be an insurance company or somebody legit to get a phone number. You can't just be some guy getting, your home address or your phone number. So after this, he had went to Schaefer's apartment on July 18th, 1989. He got to her apartment and he pressed the intercom, which it wasn't working, so Schaefer came down to the door. He told her he was her biggest fan, and he went on, like, remember me, I sent you that letter, we have this great relationship, I'm so excited to meet you, like, this is awesome. And she was polite. She said, thank you very much, have a good day. And she shut the door. And so Bardo went and got some food to eat at a restaurant, and then an hour later, he came back to her house. She opened the door and he said, "Hey, I forgot to give you something." Then he shot her 2 times in the chest. Neighbor Richard Goldman heard 2 shots and 2 screams, and he came running to the front door. Schaefer died shortly after being rushed to the hospital. Bardo fled the scene, and police caught him the following day in Tucson, Arizona. The police found him because they had gotten some calls in Arizona about a man walking around cars in the middle of the highway yelling, "I killed Rebecca Schaefer." Police arrested him and he confessed the murder with little to no resistance. Bardo's trial began in September of 1991. Bardo ended up being sentenced to life in prison, no possibility of parole. And of 2022, he is still alive, and he is continuing his life sentence at Avenel State Prison in California. Because of Rebecca Schaefer, California made the first anti-stalking laws, and the rest of the USA followed. So I know that this video was probably kind of not too good. It's my first video, like sharing facts and telling a story like this. So if anybody has any tips for me on anything I did wrong, anything I did right, I would love to know, because I want to start making videos once a week or once every 2 weeks and posting them. So if there's any tips or advice you guys could give me, that would be awesome. Also, I really hope you liked this video. I'm going to make another really interesting video that I'll probably post next week or the week after. So I hope you guys subscribe, like, and share this video.